Good afternoon and welcome. It is Tuesday, it is 12 o'clock, and that means only one thing. I am live here to talk to you about the next part of our HubSpot journey. So today we're going to be looking at building out that very first dashboard. It's a point that we've talked about in the sessions regularly, as it's typically the first thing that you see when you come to HubSpot. So we're going to dive straight in. So this should be a screen that you are by now familiar with, and when you first log into HubSpot, this is what you're typically presented with. As I've said, it can be customized to a different view, be that contacts or sales dashboard, but for most people and most users, the dashboard is where they're going to end up, and that's because you can build these out to provide you with an absolute wealth of information at a glance, that kind of gives you an overview of how you're performing from a marketing or a sales or a combination, or in fact servicing if you're looking at ticketing, etc. So how do we build out our first dashboard? That's what we're going to be doing. So as you can see, there's a big plus sign here that says start with a blank dashboard. For the purposes of today and this video, we are going to be working completely from blanks. There are numerous templates that you can work from as well, but we are going to go ahead and try and build out our own. So firstly, we'll give the dashboard a name. So I'm just going to give this a demo dashboard. And I'm going to make that visible to everyone. And what that means is everybody in this hub. So you could make this very specific to you. So if you have a particular need and want to make a dashboard only for yourself, you can do that. But often if you're building out useful dashboards, it's pretty handy to be able to share those with the rest of your team. So typically go with everybody. And if you only want them to be able to view it and not muck up all your hard work, just tick this below here and it will switch it to view only mode. I tend to do that just to save anybody from editing my dashboards. So we're going to click create, and what you're then going to see is we are presented on our first dashboard screen. So up here in the top left hand corner where you can see the word demo dashboard, you will be able to search different dashboards. So as you grow and as you add more dashboards, there obviously are limitations on the free portal, but when you get to paid features, you can have multiple different variety of these dashboards. So this is a very quick way to be able to switch between them. You can also favorite dashboards. So by clicking this star, that'll be favorited. And then as the list builds, it's easy to find them. So the next thing that we need to do is think about what we want on this dashboard and start building out the different variety of reports. So again, there are a couple of different ways of doing this. I'm going to talk you through the way that I go about doing it, but you can build a report first and add it to your dashboard secondly. I tend to think about what I want to add as I'm building a dashboard and just build those reports on the fly. So we're going to click this button in the center that says add reports to this dashboard, and we're going to go from the report library for this instance. So whilst that loads, as you can see, we've got 94 reports to pick from on this free version. So a lot of information that can be had. I don't have a huge amount of data in this portal for us to be working with, but what I have done ahead of this video is I've imported some demo contact data. So I'm going to click contacts to filter it down and start looking at the different contact reports that are available, as this is where I have the most information. So you can kind of scroll through, and kind of see the different things that are around. So, the reports, they can be on a multitude of things, but you kind of got to understand what is most important to you. At a glance, what do you want to know? So with contacts, I typically find that it's useful to understand, how many contacts you've got in any different stage within your sales funnel or your marketing funnel. So this is a great report here, which is the contact life cycle at any stage. So if we go ahead and click Save Report, we can leave the name by default, and we're going to add it to an existing dashboard. It's already selected Demo Dashboard. Handily, we only have one, so it's not a hard choice. We're going to click Save and Add. And you'll see that that has now been added. And I'm going to jump back to the dashboard, which you can do by hitting Back to Dashboard in the top left-hand corner. And as this loads, you're now going to see our very first piece of data is coming to our very first dashboard. So really, really simple. As you see, that's taken me approximately 4 minutes to build our first dashboard and get our first piece of information on there. Now, within this, each of these reports, as they're called, can be adjusted and filtered. So if we click the kind of sliding scale icon in the top right-hand corner, it says View and Filter. And this is when it actually builds out the report builder. So we can actually understand what is this data showing and do we want to make any changes to this data for our own purposes. So what this is showing me is the contact life cycle funnel. So all of the different life cycles of our contacts, any stage. So we're not filtering that out. We're looking at a rolling date range of the last 30 days. So this is going to be consistently only ever showing that from the previous day and back 30 days. So the previous 30 days to the date you're looking. And we could, if we choose to, add further filters. So by looking at the filters available, we can click Add Filter. And we might decide that we actually want to know that what their life cycle funnel is, perhaps I don't know, the last activity date. So not only do we want to know what their life cycle funnel is, but we're actually only interested in looking at those contacts that have actually had some activity, in the last, let's say month. So it's after the 1st of April. So this is now going to hit apply and it will search and update the data. As I've said, I don't have a huge amount of data in this demo portal, so filtering down is going to prove quite tricky. But as you build out your own data, you can filter charts content. I'm going to go ahead and remove that, and you'll see that it populates back with the data that we had. So this is just showing me the last 30 days, the contacts that have been created, and what cycle they are in. So it's a total count of 1, and they have a lead which was created. So I'm going to click Save and get back to the dashboard. So before we go ahead and add more reports, I want to kind of talk you through what these grey boxes are. So these grey boxes allow you to completely determine the size and layout of this dashboard. So I can drag and drop this around, and as you'll see, by default at this current size, this takes up 6 squares of my dashboard. So it will allow me to drop this in any position that's taking up 6 squares, like this or that. And if you go to the bottom right hand corner, you can make these reports smaller. So certain reports will have a very much a minimum size, and it won't let you go any smaller. Others you can go out. So we could build this out to be huge or small. I think actually, the size that it was at is a pretty good size. So kind of 6 square, and we can leave that in here. You can scroll within the actual report itself. So any extra data that's not visible at a glance can be found by scrolling within. You'll see this is the scroll bar within it. And if you come off of that and scroll, you're going to move your page up and down. So if we would like to go ahead now, we're going to add a second report. So we go back to the top right hand corner and we're going to add a report from the report library. Bit of a slow connection. And again, I'm going to filter down to contacts, and we'll just have a little look along to see, what is going on here. So we can kind of understand another interesting one here, contact totals by source that have a life cycle stage. So let's save this report, add it to our demo dashboard, and then we're going to go back to that dashboard and I'll talk you through this report. So as you see, it's found the next available space. So by default, it's going to build up from left to right and then top to bottom. So this is going to show us actually the breakdown of the source of these contacts. So whilst we know how many have been created by looking to our left, and we know at what life cycle they are at, what this will also give us is a breakdown of the source. So if you're running paid advertising campaigns, maybe you're doing some social media, maybe you're doing some email marketing, be interesting at a glance to understand which of those channels is delivering you the most contacts, and obviously investigate that and probably do more of what's working and maybe improve what's not necessarily working so well. So we have reached the halfway point. And so if you have got any questions, obviously I love getting questions, please fire them in the chat, and we will pick those up. Or if you kind of come up with a question following this video, you can obviously send me a DM on LinkedIn, or you can find us our website, finally.agency, jump on the live chat or send me an email, and I'll be very happy to answer those questions in another video or directly one-to-one with yourself. So please do that. But for now, we're going to jump back in and carry on. So let's add a third report by going back to the top right and going to the report library. I'm just going to kind of scroll through here and just kind of give you an understanding of all the different types of reports. So I think if we actually filter by type down the bottom and we look for comparisons, this is going to give us some interesting reports that have been generated. Now, obviously, a lot of these reports have been built out through the data that HubSpot holds across like millions of people's data. So they are kind of seeing what people are building and listening and talking to their customers. And so these sets of reports that are the default ones are very much useful for you to take on board. You can, of course, try and come up with your own if there's a particular business case for understanding something, maybe understanding a particular comparison or understanding a time scale, then that's obviously something that you'd like to build out. But I think for a typical user, diving in and exploring all of these pre-built reports is definitely the best place to go to start. So let's have a little look. I mean, you've got things here such as team activity. So if you're in a larger team and you can understand the productivity of your sales team, might be good for like a sales manager to understand maybe how many emails are being sent by different sales reps, or videos that are being sent out, or kind of telephone calls that have been made, or meetings booked. All of these sorts of things can be monitored. Average time to respond is great. This is a live chat feature or a ticketing feature, so you can understand again how efficient and how responsive are your sales or your customer service team. Average time to close a ticket, again, from a customer service point of view, it's a really great number to understand how long is it taking to do your jobs and see where you can go wrong. But again, I'm going to look by funnel. So funnels, this is really interesting. So deal stage funnel is something that I look at personally. So it's like understanding how many of your deals kind of convert at different stages and what's the cycle of those deals. So, are you able to tell me now, if I were asking you, how many of your deals in the last 6 months have you closed and how many stages they went through? Without a sort of dashboard or without a CRM that reports in the way that HubSpot does, that's quite hard data to understand. Excel sheets aren't going to really give you that. But what's really interesting is understanding that, I would like to say that once a deal in my pipeline has been moved to proposal sent, I would have a really good understanding of what the likelihood of closing that deal is. And that's based on all of those previous deals. And you can see things such as if a deal moves to, say, proposal sent and comes back to some queries, and maybe you take that back to a modification part of your sales funnel. Maybe it stays in proposal sent. It's all about how you operate your own businesses, how you operate your sales funnel. But for me, I like to kind of have quite a simple funnel so that I can really build and understand my conversion rate. And the more that you utilize it, the more that you actually update things and report on it, even to yourself, the better your ability to improve and improve that conversion rate and understand what makes a difference. So, we've been through a cycle here at Finally of evaluating our own sales process, making some changes, and so far, touch wood, that's going really well, and people are enjoying that process, and me delivering it, I'm also enjoying it, but we're reporting on it, and I report back the numbers to my team each 2 weeks. So different things here. So revenue is a really good measure to put on the dashboard. So, if I'm gonna go ahead and save this leaderboard, which is a deal, and jump back and show you this here. So you can see this is the amount closed by rep with stage breakdown. So you can see that I have closed one deal in this demo portal for £4,000. So I've got a 100% success rate, which is a very good success rate to have. And it was in my qualified to buy sales pipeline. So it tells me at a glance, the different reps or deal owners that are looking after them, the value that's been weighted, and what's the close value. And again, we could go in here and filter this. So this is saying that the deal stage is greater than, probability is greater than 0, that the pipeline is of any of our sales pipeline. You might want to do something like deal owner. Here, deal owner is any of, and you could pick just one. Obviously in this portal there is only me, but say you had a different team breakdown or different reps, or you just wanted to kind of focus on the different people in a separate report, you could filter those out, and so you can get that information really simply in front of you. So I'm going to undo that because I don't want to save it. But I think the purpose of this is to show you how simple it is to build a dashboard. And actually the importance of dashboards are that, as you can see now, very, very quickly in 15 minutes or less, we can get a real kind of snapshot of what's taking place in our CRM and ultimately our business. And we can look at sales, we can look at marketing, we can look at customer service. All of those things can be brought in together in one HubSpot portal. Not everybody will use every part, but certainly just from a kind of CRM purpose, and the free version is so powerful. I just recommend that everybody is at least using the CRM. If you don't already have an existing CRM, please give HubSpot a go. As I said, any questions, feel free to ask out. So what we're going to try and do now is I'm going to create you a second dashboard. And I'm going to go from an email template. So this is going to pick, I did that quite quick, I'll go back. Before we built a blank dashboard, but as I said, the templates exist and HubSpot's really got some great data and understands what works. So it's also got some pre-built dashboards, sales and sales opportunities, sales reps, service, all of these different ones you can see here. I'm going to select the email one and I'm going to click this. And this says that it's going to obviously put these particular reports straight onto that dashboard for us. Perfect. I'm going to let everybody see this, and I'm going to make it view only again, and I'm going to click create. It's going to take a few minutes. But as you can see, it's going to start building out this dashboard with the data. There probably is going to be pretty much no data because I haven't sent any marketing emails from this portal. But the purpose is really I wanted to show you what I was talking about earlier in the session, where I was saying once you get different dashboards, you can very easily switch between the dashboards by coming up to the top left. So if we now jump back to our demo dashboard, it's going to very quickly update and populate. And if I then wanted to actually go, okay, how's our email system working? I would jump here and I'd have this pre-built dashboard available. So as I said, now, if you ever enter HubSpot, or we click the HubSpot icon in the top left, we're going to come back to our home screen. And that is now, for the first time, going to be the dashboard. So we now have our first dashboard built. We're starting to get data. And as we get more data into this demo, we'll revisit this particular look. And I will show you how to build out some more custom reports and add them to your dashboards. So we are coming towards the end of our session here on dashboards. Really simple, I think you'll agree. I think jump in, build out some dashboards, see what works for you, understand what the data means to your business, and just report on it. By looking at this at a glance every time you enter your portal, I think you'll find it's going to help you to kind of make some really great decisions. And if not decisions, certainly ask some questions. And being in business and kind of understanding what's working, what's not working is one of the most important things that you can do. So I highly recommend you go ahead and do that. I'm going to sign off here for today. I'm going to wish you all a very great rest of the week. And I hope that you've found that today's session useful. And as ever, please, connect with me here on LinkedIn, and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. For now, I'm going to speak soon.